Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are doing a system level comparison of the medical training and professional life in the UK and India. This is not about proving one system is better than the other, it's about understanding how differently doctors are trained, treated, and protected, and what we can learn from each system. At a system level, the UK and Indian medical training models are fundamentally different. The UK treats trainees as employees within a regulated national system. India largely treats postgraduate trainees as students, even though they carry a massive clinical responsibility. Everything else we discuss flows from this one difference. Before we dive into details, let's answer one question. Why does this comparison even matter? Because the training systems don't just shape careers, they shape your family life, your finances, your mental health, and how long you can safely work as a doctor. So, this comparison is not academic, it's deeply practical. This is the single biggest shift. In the UK, a trainee doctor is a salaried employee with a legal employment contract. In India, the postgraduate trainees are still considered as students, receiving a fixed stipend and often bound by service bonds. In the UK, you don't pay to train, you are paid to train and learn. Let's look how the training is structured in both countries. In India, the pathway is MBBS. After that, you do the NEET PG exam and enter into your postgraduate training. Then there is a service bond, most if you are in a government medical college. And after the bond, you usually go for a super specialty training as well. But you can, of course, work even without it. It's not mandatory, it's optional. So, all throughout this time, you are considered as a student receiving stipend. While in the UK, after your medical training, which is equivalent to the MBBS, which does not include an internship, you enter into foundation training where you are considered as an employee. So there are 2 years of foundation training, then core surgical or core medical training again, usually 2 years. Then they enter into the postgraduate or the specialty training, which can be from um, anywhere between 3 to 4 or 6 years, depending on your specialty. And after that, you become a consultant. Very rarely people go for a super specialty, but they may go for a 1 year fellowship before joining as a consultant. India's system is like a sprint, intense, fast, and high volume. You become a consultant fairly quicker than your counterparts in the UK. But in the UK system, it's like a marathon, slower, structured, and progressive. Neither approach is inherently right or wrong, but they produce very different doctors and very different lives. Even the entry into the postgraduate training is very different in both the countries. India relies almost entirely on a single high stakes exam um, that is based on the exam rank. In the UK, entry is based on eligibility plus a portfolio that includes audits, research, teaching, and structured interviews. This allows motivated candidates to build their way into a specialty, not just rely on a one exam day. Now, coming to the rota system and the role of managers. In the UK, the rota managers and not the doctors manage staffing, leave, and sickness cover. So, if you're unwell, it's not your responsibility to find the cover. The managers will do it. And they put out locum jobs for this to cover this vacancy or this days, and whoever covers for it will get extra money for that locum cover. While in India, the rota management often falls on the doctors themselves, usually through informal WhatsApp groups and begging colleagues for cover, and whoever agrees to cover for that slot ends up not getting any extra pay. In the UK, working hours are legally regulated under the EWTD, averaging 48 hours per week. Overtime is paid or compensated with time off. In India, working 72 to 100 hours a week is common, and overtime is often unpaid and unrecognized. This has long term consequences for safety and burnout. Coming to the annual leave and sickness protection, the UK trainees have protected annual leave allowances that comes to around 30 days in a year, and on top of it they have sick leave written into their contracts. So taking leave does not mean guilt or punishment. If you want to take leave, you have to just inform around 6 weeks prior to it to your managers, and they add it onto your rota. You don't need to ask your senior colleagues or your lead for the permission for the same. But in India, leave is often difficult, discretionary, and dependent on the departmental structure. And I don't even know if there is any fixed 15 or 20-day leave, because I have just put it on this picture for a namesake, but I don't think there is any written annual leave days as far as I know. But please give me your comments if you know more about it. In the UK, trainees belong to a deanery and not to a single hospital. Each deanery includes multiple hospitals, and trainees rotate every 6 to 12 months within them. It can be district hospital or a tertiary teaching hospital. Educational supervisors are there in each hospital for the trainees, and they are accountable to the deanery to provide adequate training. So if a department fails to provide the adequate training, then the program itself can be reviewed or withdrawn from that hospital. The clinical priority works very differently in each country. In the UK, patients are treated strictly based on their clinical urgency. In India, social pressure, influence, and seniority can disrupt the triage, and doctors often are forced to comply to it. This adds stress and ethical conflict to everyday practice. The outpatient workload also differs significantly. In the UK, trainees usually see fewer patients, like probably 10 patients in a 4-hour clinic, allowing time for documentation, supervision, and learning. In India, trainees may see dozens of patients in a single session. I have written 40 to 60, but usually it can go to 100 to 150 patients in a 4-hour session, where we prioritize volume over the depth of learning. I know that the population in each country is different, and that is contributing towards this. But my personal view is to, if the population is so much more, we have to try and increase the training numbers and not just putting all the stress onto the trainee or the doctor. In both the countries, for the medical school that is equivalent to the MBBS, you are required to pay a fee. In India, it can be a very low fee if you're going to a government college, or a higher fee if you go to a private college. While in the UK graduates pay around £9,000, while if you are an international graduate, you will be paying much more for your medical school that is equivalent to the MBBS. After that, in the UK, the NHS pays you to train. So if you're going for your post graduation or specialty training, you don't need to pay any fee for that. You get paid for your training. While in India, even for your post graduation, there would be a fee, even if you are in a government college. And if you're in a private college, it would be much, much more than that. And you are considered as a student. So you end up paying fee, and this creates a long-term financial opportunity cost that compounds over years. The UK salaries follow national transparent pay scales with predictable progression. Overtime and extra work are protected. In India, the salaries vary widely from one state to another or even between cities, and are often opaque and depend heavily on institution and negotiation. Because the UK trainees are considered as employees, the pension contributions start from the first year of work while they do the foundation year. And employer contributions are substantial, nearly 23%, and life insurance or death in service benefit is included. By life insurance, I mean if we die during service, there will be a lump sum amount paid to us. which we can see when we contribute towards the pension. If you're not contributing, I don't think that is included. While in India, pension planning usually starts much, much later, often after training is completed. And I have no idea if there is any life insurance or death in service benefit provided to every doctor who unfortunately died during their service. In the UK, doctors and their families receive comprehensive healthcare through the NHS as the rest of the population. Um, that means you don't actually need to have an additional insurance cover, though some choose to have an additional private insurance cover for the speed of treatment, because otherwise in the NHS you may have to wait for months to get the treatment even though the treatment is free. While in India, there is no universal family health cover for doctors, but the healthcare in the government hospitals is usually very low cost, but I don't know how many people go there um, because of the vast private sector, private hospital availability. Most of them end up going to private hospitals, and how many doctors or their families are going to the government hospital for training, I'm doubtful, and therefore they end up purchasing almost all the time purchasing a private health cover. The hierarchy works very differently in both the countries. In India, the doctor carries almost total responsibility and is rarely questioned. And even there is a very strong hierarchy in between the doctors if you are junior, senior. So we usually follow all the commands from the seniors and it's very rarely questioned. In the UK, the healthcare is delivered by a multidisciplinary team where nurses, anesthetists, and allied staff are encouraged to question concerns, and the responsibility is shared and not isolated, and hence there is no significant hierarchy issues. Another interesting difference is the culture of recognition and fame. In India, doctors can build a personal name for themselves, becoming renowned in their specialty, attracting patients, and even leveraging social media to establish a reputation. In the UK, it's different. The focus is on the NHS as a system. Most patients come for the care, not for a specific doctor's fame. Here, the system ensures everyone works as a team and there is less pressure to promote oneself or work extreme hours for personal recognition. This isn't a criticism, it's simply a reflection of how culture and structure shape professional priorities. So, what can we learn? India offers unmatched clinical exposure and resilience, while the UK offers structure, protection, and sustainability. The ideal system likely lies somewhere in between, combining skill, safety, dignity, and accountability. Thank you for watching. These are my personal experiences and opinions, not an attempt to degrade any system. I may be wrong in some areas, and I welcome respectful discussion about it. And if you are trained in either system, please share your experience, and that's how we all can learn. Thank you.